The greatlance is easily my favorite weapon in this game, and so few people use it, I only feel like I'll be doing justice to this weapon by talking about what makes this such a unique weapon. It has about the same speed of an ultra greatsword, but it by far surpasses any greatsword. So what's to love about this weapon? Well, let me summarize it like this. Now, the biggest problem with this weapon is that it can be reaction parried, and it's one of the only in the game that can do so. So, on a Dark Greatlance build, which not many people run, but we cannot deny the consistency of a Dark weapon, even though Heavy Greatlance has a higher killing potential. Now, the reason that you'll want to be using Chaos Greatlance is, for one, it can be used on the same build, but what you get out of it is that if you're expecting you can get a critical attack, a Chaos Greatlance is just mind-boggling, because it does almost the same amount as a Chaos Great Dagger, actually. It's only about 100 less on average, but here's the reason you'll want to do this. If your opponent sees that you have a dagger out, they're obviously going to do everything in their power to not parry you, make sure they don't get backstabbed, etc. And the Greatlance, what makes it so great for being Chaos Infused, is that it has the same attack animation for like a backstab as, say, any of the fast weapons. Now, I actually came back into this game extremely rusty. I haven't played seriously in a couple months, and, well, it shows, because even though I was winning the majority of my rounds, I didn't feel like I was doing all that great. But, without a further ado, this is a weapon that is like the dagger's little brother but big brother at the same time, because you can roll catch with its backstab animation because it's so long, kind of like the Corvian Great Scythe. Now, this guy right here actually got the best of me in this round, because I wasn't expecting that weapon. I had forgot it was even a thing in this game. But yeah, this was one of my first rounds back. I really was not expecting anything. I was just so rusty. It was hard. But hey, he was a nice dude. Now, this right here is a tech that I see no one ever use on any poking weapon, and this is best on the Greatlance. You can do any turn, like watch this, you'll see it right here. You can turn completely with a shield poke, so you can, it's so not telegraphed, and you can turn in any direction. It's a very good finishing tool that is best on Greatlance. You don't see me using it often, not because I don't think it's great, it's just I don't find the situation to use it like arise all that much. It's really based on how aggressive your opponent is. Now, this is a very top tier build that this man is using right here. The Bone Wheel Shield is easily the best weapon in the game, and the Pierce Shield is only second to it. But needless to say, he was really close to getting the parry right there, but I wasn't going to let him do that. Now, knowing that he wants to parry so bad, this is about the time I switched to my Chaos Greatlance, because as I said, parrying is this thing's kryptonite, but you can catch a parry like that, dead in an instant. There's nothing they can really do about it, because they don't see you change weapons. That's what makes the Chaos Greatlance so great, is that you can switch, and they don't expect it, because they don't see that you changed. Now, I see this man using a curved sword right here, and I was saying to myself, okay, if I do that, if I bait him in, is he going to attack? And I see that he does. So, knowing that, I switch to Chaos, I bait it, bam, and as you'll see here, just an absurd amount of damage. You'll actually be one-shotting most of the people you fight, but if they aren't wearing like super good armor, you're going to be one a good amount of the time. Or you're just going to take them down to so low of health that you can use your offhand straight sword, which I didn't mention before. Like, I don't think using Greatlance on its own is a good idea. I think using a whole bunch of utility, and good utility at that, is how the Great Lance shines the best. So, Straight Sword, super good in the offhand, because the R1 of the Great Lance combos into the R1 of the Straight Sword. Now, that may not seem like the best idea ever, but when your opponent's super laggy, like this guy, you'll see why in a minute. Yeah, if you just saw that, if you're almost frame perfect, the R1 of either one-handed or two-handed will combo into the jump attack. So, people say that this thing's one-handed moveset isn't viable because it doesn't have hyper armor. It actually has a couple perks to it that you're really going to want to take control of. Now, I tried a Fight Club, and that didn't work too well, as you'll see here. This man's trying to cheese me. I'm giving him a moment, but he's trying to go to his Thrall Axe because he's like, hey, I watched that one PvP skills video, and he said, use Thrall Axe with heavy armor. You can never lose then. But Straight Sword, another great thing about it is that it counters Quick Step, which is easily one of the most irritating weapon arts in the game. But it turns out that this Fight Club's about to come to an abrupt end, as you can hear there in the distance. So yeah, I didn't get the pleasure of killing this Thrall Axe user. He'll live to see another day. Now this guy, he's using those weapons right there, the Winged Knight axes, and you can almost tell when you see those things. What do they want to do? They want to use that L1. Well, that L1 is super easily parried, and bam, that's the Chaos Great Lance. That hole in his stomach on his chest armor, that was from my fucking Great Lance. Just maximum penetration. There's nothing that compares to this weapon. This is top tier weapon, 100% confirmed. No straight swords, no curved swords, just Great Lance. So this man, I think, is running a Flynn's build, but he's not running an exactly effective one at that. But anyway, we gotta take them at least a little bit seriously, because even if they're dumb, they're not gonna hit any less hard. So, I was actually really, I don't know if it was me, or just who I was fighting in our connection, but I was actually missing a lot of what should have been really easy backstabs. But, yep, see, tried to parry, no. Just gonna do an absurd amount of damage right there. And actually another tool, oh yeah, he had some internet issues right there. I learned this not too long ago. Around the same time I learned that the jumping attack combos into, from the R1, is that a fully charged R2, two-handed R2, is unparryable. So it's a really good get-up attack if your opponent's trying to, wake up parry you. So that's really good. Now this man is a sorcerer, and I knew that I would be able to set up parry that. Just all of his HP gone. That fight did not end well for him. Now, I thought I was going to be able to set up parry this guy as well, because with almost every single shield, like medium shields, and if you're on pretty good connection, anything slower than a straight sword you can set up parry. But little did I know that this man was not going to let me set up parry him. He was a little bit smarter than that. Yeah, see how he didn't go for a follow-up? So I was like, okay, so this man's not letting me parry him. But the reason that you don't, the reason that you have dark weapons over chaos isn't because of, a huge damage difference. They have the same AR. It's mostly because, GG to that guy, is mostly because of the Black Knight shield, which needs to be nerfed. I wish FromSoft had done that before, but they didn't, because it has the same stability as a fucking Great Shield, which is always fun to deal with. But if your opponent's not using that, oh, yep, see, set up parry, just fucking bean boozled. What is there to do once you've done that? I can just use Dragon Head Shield, I can use Straight Sword, I can use Crossbow. When your opponent, underestimates you because you're using Great Lance, they're like, oh, I'll just parry this, or oh, I can just dodge this man's hyper armor. Teach them motherfuckers a lesson, because that's not always the case, and that's exactly not the case here, because, Chaos Great Lance. But anyway, yeah, this fight's basically over. Just me making some pretty bad mistakes. I'm surprised that didn't roll catch me. Like I said, I haven't played this game in a while. I've been playing a lot of other games, and I work upon school, so I don't have much time to do stuff like that. So we got full-on Artorias cosplay, and right away he just shows, hey, I'm not gonna let you parry me. I know what you're doing. You're trying to parry me. So I'm like, okay. Now, actually, if you saw that little L2 swing with my straight sword, I was testing to see if the Chaos weapon or the Dark weapon would do more, and the Chaos weapon did more, so I did switch back. There's a beautiful example of Dark Souls 3's amazing netcode. So that didn't catch him surprisingly. But yeah, this man I wouldn't say is exactly bad, it's just that he's working with a really bad build. If I'm being completely honest, like, Abyss Walker armor, Artorias' armor, all of it is really bad. Greatlance, especially one-handed, is surprisingly good at roll catching. The timing is just slightly slower than a greatsword, but the roll catch animation or like hitboxes just stay out for fucking ever. So this man is gonna get some fucking circumcision up in here, gonna get crucified with our Chaos Greatlance. Yeah, don't get set up parrying people. If you're gonna use a great sword, just go do invasions. They are so bad in duels. If only people would listen. So anyway, I see this guy. He has that parry shield, the Llewellyn shield, and I'm like, okay, so this man wants to parry. I mean, it's very clear. And this is another example of, like, my timing being off, but this man is dumb, decided to trade, weapon art, just fucking bean-boozled yet again. Don't trade with a hyper armor weapon that can just fucking go into its weapon art, like, rule of thumb. So, no parries for you. You thought the Greatlance was a parry tool, well, guess what? Yep, if you saw right there, he was trying to go for the wake up parry, but because it was a fully charged R2, he wasn't able to get it. Just realizing that Ultra Great Swords are awful, but hey, I'll give him brownie points for trying. Brownie points for trying. But yeah, anyway, a lot of people, now if I had my parry shield out, that man would be done. A lot of people were actually doing a rather good job against not getting parried by me, but whenever people see Greatlance, they're like, oh, okay, so I'll be able to parry this man just by looking at him. But that's not the case. Now, in Invasions, it's even more effective, even though I don't have any clips of it. But yes, Greatlance, Chaos, Infused, go do it now.